record because I had some kids absent. Okay, can you guys still hear me? All right. Okay, can you guys see the screen again? All right, so I'm going over these notes, and this is what I've done so far. So on this one, if you had a graph that went from -2 to +5, -2 is where it started on the x-axis, and +5 is where it stopped on the x-axis. You would write it like this. Because they're both open circles, there's no equal bar. No equal bar means parentheses. So you would put parentheses when they are open circles. If they were closed circles, that would be brackets or the equal bar, and I'll show you that one in just a second. Okay, for something like this, you would have, say, 7, 100, closed on 7, and it doesn't have to be a straight line. It can be a curve like that. But if it's closed on the 7, that's why there's an equal bar. Open on 100, that's why there's no equal bar. Closed is a bracket, open is parentheses. Karen, does that help?
Yeah, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Any other questions before I move on? Guys, it's very important that you guys understand this because we're going to continue this and continue and continue. So now is the time, like Taryn, you speak out. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be afraid. We're all in this together. You speak out and ask me to explain a little more on something. No questions? Okay. Number 3, something like this. All right. So if I had something like this, all right, so on the x-axis, I look to the left, and since it goes to the left forever, I'd say -infinity is less than x, and x is less than or equal to 9, less than or equal to because that is closed. Now, kids will often say, Mrs. Torres, that's going up towards positive infinity. If it's going up, why do I have negative infinity? Because I'm reading the x-axis, and the x-axis doesn't go up, it goes left. It goes left forever. I'm not looking at up forever until I'm reading the y-axis, which I'm not even talking about yet. So -infinity to 9, and you'd write it like this, -infinity, 9, and parentheses always on infinities. Plus or minus infinities are always in parentheses. So closed circles have brackets, open circles have parentheses, and infinities always have parentheses, positive or negative. All right, questions on any of this before we look at the notes?
What is that? What's that plus sign with the line under it? I don't know what that is.
Here? Yeah. I was showing positive infinity or negative infinity. I can make separate ones. Positive any infinities, whether it's positive or negative, like right here, it's a negative.
Oh, okay, okay. So the plus sign, oh, okay, I understand now. Okay.
Yeah, so I was saying positive or negative. Any kind of infinity will have parentheses. It does not matter whether it's a positive or a negative. Any kind of closed circle will have brackets, open circles will have parentheses. Any questions on any of this before we move on? None? Okay. I am now going to take some time going over these problems here. First thing I'm going to do is talk about only domain. I'm going to go 1 through 7, and I'm going to talk about domain on all of them. Okay, so first one. Domain is the set of all what? Set of all
x values.
X values, thank you. Set of all x values. The x-axis runs right and left and right. So you'd read that like you would a book. And when you read a book in English, you go from left to right. You agree? Left to right, left to right. You read a graph the same way, left to right. So you travel along like here, do, 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 do. There's no graph over here. Do you see there's no graph? Because that's not an arrow, it's a dot. The graph is not going left forever. So I look along, and oh, finally my graph starts. So I look up to the x-axis because I'm dealing with domain. What is the x value at which that graph starts? Amanda, can you answer that? What is the x value at which that graph starts?
-2.
And that's where that -2 is coming from there. And then I keep traveling, there's no open circle, so I'm safe. And the graph has an open circle. There's no arrow that tells me I'm going forever. I'm stopping right here. Logan, at what x value do I stop?
4.
4, and that's where that 4 is coming from. Taryn, can you tell me why this one has an equal bar and that one doesn't?
Because it's a closed,
And that one's open?
yeah.
Good. Okay, and then we're going to take this and change it to interval notation, which we just went over. -2 has a bracket because of the equal bar. 4 has parentheses because there's no equal bar. Smaller number always comes first. Any questions on the domain? No question. This is the way we're going to write it from now on. We're not going to write it this way anymore. I'm just showing you like review because this is how you've seen it in the past. Okay. Now, I can see that my graph is going up forever and down forever, but I'm looking for the set of all x values. So for x values, does my graph go left and right forever? Even though it's slanted, is it still going leftward forever and rightward forever?
Yes.
And there's no open circles, so -infinity to infinity. Catherine, can you tell me why I used parentheses here on the -infinity and infinity? If you're not sure, that's okay.
Because it's an open circle. Oh no, because infinities always have parentheses.
You are correct. Thank you. So Caleb, that was back to your question earlier. Do you see where it's negative and positive and I just put parentheses? Okay. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. Domain is always the set of all x values. Is this graph going, even though it's going downward, is it going downward in the leftward direction? Is it
Yes.
going leftward? Yes. So -infinity. Does it go right forever or does it stop at a particular point? I'm going to call on Harris.
It stops.
It stops. And what x value does it stop at?
4.
4. And that's where this 4 is coming from. Harris, can you tell me why I have a bracket on the 4?
I forgot.
It's okay, but you're going to pay attention to the answer because I will come back to you.
All
Caleb,
right.
can you tell us why there's a bracket on the 4?
Isn't it because it's a closed circle?
That is correct, because it is a closed circle. So anytime there's a closed circle, we're going to put a bracket. All right, moving on to the next one. Here is where it gets a little confusing, and you can see how smudgy it is from all the writing on it that I've been doing throughout the day. Okay, so can you see, first off, ignore that open circle right there. Like this one, it went like this from left to right. Can you see this one does the same thing? But this one has a start point and an end point because there are no arrows. Can you see that it has a start and an end because there are no arrows? Okay, I'm gonna call on one of you, so I want you guys looking right now. What is that x value at which it starts? And I'm gonna call on Amanda. Amanda, can you tell me at what x value the graph starts?
-3.
Okay, don't write this down. I'm gonna put it here. Don't write it down yet. Now ignore the open circle in the middle. And I'm gonna call on one of you to tell me at what x value the graph stops. Jose, Adam, can you tell me where it stops?
5.
I didn't hear you.
5.
At 5. Okay, do you guys agree it stops at 5? parentheses there, bracket there. Okay, this is not the right answer. You guys, all that you that helped me gave me the right answers from what I asked, but I wrote it incorrectly, purposely. Can anybody tell me why this is wrong and I need the union? When I talked about it in notes, what did I say? Why would I need this union problem? Why can I not write it like this?
There's an
Because there's
open,
a circle, there's an open circle in between.
Good. There was a few of you that were saying that. Catherine, was that you that was saying it as well? No, someone did. I don't know who it was. Okay, because of that open circle, I cannot write it this way. Now, I was able to over here because it went from left to right, nice and smooth with no open circles. But this one has an open circle, so it's going to break. I'm going to go from end point to middle point to end point. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Start point to middle point to middle point to end point with a union. This U without a line is called union. I call it a U, but it doesn't have a line. It's not like a regular U. Okay, so here's what you do. You look at that piece. -3, and then that circle right there is at 1. So -3 to 1. And this side goes again from 1 to 5. So 1 to 5. And 1 has to have parentheses because that's the open circle. That's the whole reason why we had to stop at the 1 and pick back up. Questions on that one?
does it have to be an open circle for there to be a union?
Yes. Because like right here, you see there's no open circle. It was just straight. That's why there's no union. Same
So,
thing here, same thing there. Yes.
so Ms. Torres, like, let's say like in the place of where that open circle is, what if it was a closed circle? Do we just not use union at all?
Good question. Yes, if that right there were not even a closed circle, just a curve like that, then this right here would have been your answer. The one I crossed out would have been your answer. We would have no union at all, like Caleb said. This would be the answer. -3 start, 5 is the end, and all is good in the world. But because it had that open circle right there at the 1, we had to have a union. You guys, these are awesome questions. Please keep them coming. Do not be afraid to ask and speak up.
Miss
Okay,
Paula?
questions? Yes.
Can you go over that again, like how you got the 2 parentheses, like how you got the numbers?
Uh-huh. On this one here, I'm going to come back to this one. This one was a straight curve with no open circles. So this was my domain.
Oh, for the union.
Yeah. So over here, what Caleb had asked is, what if that open circle wasn't there and it was closed? So it was like this. Then you would just be -3, 5, and all is good. Why do we have the union? Because there was an open circle right there. So I had to break my domain into 2 pieces. The left side, -3 to 1, and the right side, 1 to 5. And the 1 is coming from right there where that open circle is. It's kind of like you cut your graph in half, the left side, the right side. The left side's -3 to 1, and the right side is 1 to 5.
Ms. Torres,
Uh-huh.
so I don't know if you talked about this yet or not. For the range, how is it 0, 4? I don't understand that.
I will go over that because that one is a little more complicated, but let me finish all the domains and I will talk about the range. I haven't yet.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Do you guys remember parabolas last year in Math 2? You guys actually did a whole unit on parabolas, and then your second unit, boom, is when COVID-19 hit and all schools were shut down. Do you guys vaguely remember doing parabolas when all that happened? Yeah, okay. You talked about domain in class back then, and your math teachers talked and wrote it this way. Do you guys remember seeing that notation in your Math 2 class? I called it double bar R with my kids. I don't know what your math teachers called it. What does it mean? It means something. All
real numbers.
Thank you. All real numbers. Okay. Now, do you remember that because the parabola goes right and left forever and ever and ever and ever, the domain is all real numbers? Do you guys remember that from last year? Is that a yes? Everybody's head should be nodding. Yes? No, you don't remember that, Danny? Okay. If you don't remember it, that's fine. I'm going to remind you now, because a parabola goes right forever, left forever, boom, 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 boom. It just keeps getting bigger. We would say, this is the old way of saying it, all real numbers. That is still correct, but we now write it in interval notation. And you write that as negative infinity to infinity. This just says, hey, it goes left forever, right forever, which it does. Now, don't draw this on your paper, but what if the graph was opening downward? Would it matter? No, because it's still going left forever, right forever, so that would still be your domain. What if your parabola was really skinny? Would that matter? No, because you're still going left forever, right forever at a slower rate, but you're still getting wider off to infinity. Okay, questions on why this one is negative infinity to infinity? Okay, next one. Imagine that circle is closed. Don't close it on yours. Imagine it wasn't even there. Imagine it looked like this one over here or this one here just connected. Okay, does it go left forever?
Yeah.
It's going downward, but does it go left forever?
Yes.
Does it go right forever?
Yeah.
Okay, so if this graph was like this, that would be my domain. That would be just like number 2. It doesn't matter that one has positive slope and one has negative slope. The domain is still negative infinity to infinity. But because I had this where I did, why would this be wrong?
Because there would be like a union in between the.
Ivan is correct. There would be a union. There would be a union in between the left side and the right side. So on the left side, where does the graph start, or does it go left forever?
Left
I'll
forever.
call on Williams. Is it Raya or Ria? I know I've asked you before.
It's Raya.
Okay, Raya. Does it go leftward forever, or does it have a start point on the left?
Forever.
Forever. That's where the negative infinity is coming from. Okay, and then right there, that open circle, what is the x value? Still Raya. What's the x value?
Oh, 2 or not?
2.
Yeah, 2.
Right there? You're right, it's 2. So then we put 2 with parentheses because that's an open circle. Now we're looking at the right side. Where does it pick back up? Logan, what's that x value right here?
2.
And then does it have an ending point, or does it go right forever?
Right forever.
Right forever. Does that make sense? Yes. Now, because that, I mean, we start at 2, we pick back up at 2, or stop and start at 2. If you had a graph like this, like that happens as well. Let's say this was 2 and this was 4. You would go negative infinity to 2. And I'll even close that one. Union, and that 2 should have a parentheses. 4 to infinity. Do you guys see how that works? Negative infinity to 2 with parentheses, and then 4 with brackets to infinity. Do you guys see how the union works a little better? Okay. All right. Now, same thing on the next one. Can I go left and right forever, or are there chunky pieces because of those open circles? Is it nice and clean, or are there open circles in between the graph?
Open circle.
Open circles.
When you're going left to right, how many open circles are there?
2.
2. So how many chunks of your graph are you going to have?
3.
3. You're going to have 2 unions, but 3 chunks. The left side, the middle, and the right side. Okay, let's start on the left side. I've drawn on this so many times. That is not an arrow, that is a start point. And I'm going to call on one of you, so make sure you're ready to give me the x value of that start point. I'm going to call on Soraya. Can you give me the x value of that start point right there?
-6.
-6 is correct. Can you give me the start point, I'm sorry, the end point, the x value right there where it ends?
-2.
-2. And that's where the -6 and -2 are coming from. Soraya, can you tell me why the -6 has a bracket and the -2 has parentheses?
Because the -6 is a closed circle and the -2 is an open circle.
Thank you very much. Now we're on the middle. And I'm going to call on one of you, so make sure you are ready. Mary, can you tell me the X value for the middle section where the X value starts? That's right here. What is that X value?
-2.
-2 is correct. Fix it on your notes, because when I wrote it in my notes, I said -2, but I wrote +2, and I didn't catch that until today. So fix it on your paper, because you probably have it as +2 as well. Okay, so Mary's correct. Mary, can you tell me where the middle section ends? It starts at -2 and it ends right there. What X value is that?
Negative.
Right here, the X value.
Right.
What is it?
-5.
I'm right here. Just the X value. You're on the Y value. I want the X value. Do you see it? 1, 2, and 3.
3.
Okay, so that's where the 3 is coming from, -2 to 3. And then it goes from 3 to the right forever, so 3 to infinity. Any questions on that part of the domain? Okay, I'm going to go over range. We are going to take a quick break. I'm going to give you guys about 5 to us. We'll say 8 minutes this time. So I'm going to put you guys, I'm going to take a restroom break myself. So I'm going to put you guys, actually, no, let's just finish this and we'll take our break since I'm recording. Okay, so range. Range is bottom up, y-axis, bottom up. Is that clear? Bottom up. Okay, so lowest value is -3, highest value is 5, so -3 to 5, bracket parentheses. We're good? Next one. It goes down forever and up forever, so -infinity to infinity. Down forever, comes up forever, -infinity to infinity. Next one. Does this one go down forever? Does it go up forever? Does it go up forever? No. So we have -infinity. Now it goes up and comes back down, but what's the highest Y value? Because I'm dealing with the Y axis now. What's the highest Y value the graph hits?
3.
Is the 3. So -infinity to 3. Now there's no closed circle there, but there's no open circle. If there's no open circle, that means it's closed. So that's why the bracket is there.
Wait, Miss Suarez,
Uh-huh.
I forgot to ask, on number 2, how do you get that -infinity?
Right here?
Yeah.
Because the range is the y-axis, and you read it from the bottom coming up, and from the bottom it's going down forever, so I put -infinity, and when I come up it goes up forever, so I put +infinity.
So you don't go from left to right, you go from bottom to up?
For range we go from bottom up. We only go left to right for domain.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so for this one it's -infinity to 3 because it stops at 3. Now this one is where it gets tricky, and Caleb, this is the one you had asked about earlier. What's the lowest Y value? This is the lowest point. What's that Y value?
0.
0. So I put the 0 there. Now the graph goes up, 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 and there's an open circle. Do you guys see that? But that open circle, if you look over here, is closed on the other side. So because it's closed, I just put 0 to 4. I'm going to explain that a little bit more. I'm going to close my screen. And I'm going to okay, can you guys see the screen again? All right, so I'm going to come back to this one because this is the one I kind of rushed through and I want to talk about it again. So on this one, where does it start? Where does it end? That's the lowest point, that's the highest point, and there's always a graph in between. Even though there's an open circle there, it doesn't matter. Over here, it's closed. And we're looking at the y value. So at 2, it's open here, closed there, so we do not count the open circle. I'm going to jump down to this one. When I'm coming from the bottom up, there is an open circle, but there's no graph anywhere else. Do you see that? Where here, there's an open circle, but there's graphs other places. So if you have an open circle and there's a graph somewhere else, like there's a graph there, again, I'm looking on the y-axis, there's a graph there, I don't count it. If it's a straight line like this in an open circle, I do count it. So let's try a few and see if it makes sense. So from here, I don't care about the open circle because there's graph on this side. Let's go to this one. There's no open circle, so I don't have to worry about it. Does the graph go up and down forever? I'm going to call on one of you. Does the graph go up and down forever? And I'm going to call on Leilani. Where are you at?
Right here. No, it doesn't.
A little bit louder because I can barely hear you.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It only goes upward forever. So we come from the bottom, always from the bottom. What is the lowest point? The lowest point is 1, 2, x value of 2. And it's bracket because there's no open circle. And then it goes up forever, so it goes to infinity. Adam, any questions on that range? Adam, any questions on the range?
No.
Can't hear you. Okay. I'm continuing. This one here. The graph goes up forever, down forever. But there's an open circle and there's no graph on the right or left, so it counts. So I go negative infinity to whatever the y value is, and that y value to infinity. So negative infinity to 1 and 1 to infinity with a union in between. Okay, this one. The lowest point, can you guys count that lowest point? I'm going to call on one of you, so make sure you're ready. Okay, Kaden, what's the lowest point of the graph?
-5.
So -5 goes here, and because it's an open circle, I put parentheses. Okay, now, Kaden, ignore any open circles. Does the graph go up forever from here? After that point, does it go up forever?
Yes.
Right here. It stops there, but on this side, does it go up forever?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, even though it stops there, it doesn't matter because this side goes up forever. Now let's take into account that open circle. Look to your right or left. Is there a graph anywhere on your right and left? There is, so that open circle does not count. So you say -5 to infinity with parentheses on both. Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna have you guys put this aside and take out your worksheet. You can print it, sorry, you can print it from Google Classroom if you haven't already. Do you have to print it? You do not have to print it. Okay, you can work right on a separate piece of paper. Now, on the assignment sheet, I said, let's see if I can find it. On the assignment sheet, I have right here, the worksheet we're working on is not in your packet. If it's not in your packet, it's in Google Classroom. So find it in Google Classroom. And if you want, or your parents are okay with it, if you have a printer, if you have ink, print it out. If you don't want to waste your ink, or you don't have a printer, or it's broken, You're just going to do it on a separate piece of paper. Okay, are we ready? Okay, so let's take a look at number 1, domain. I'm gonna have you guys try domain and range. I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds to try it on your own. I'm gonna stop my share screen for a quick second. Oh, never mind, I don't have to. Okay, go ahead and work. All right, x-axis. Does my graph go left forever or does it have a start point? I'm going to call on one of you, make sure you're ready. Does my graph go left forever or does it have a start point? And I'm going to call on Liana or Ileana. Sorry, Ileana, can you tell me, does it have a start point or does it go left forever?
It goes left forever.
Okay, so I'm going to start with negative infinity. Ileana, do I put parentheses or brackets on the negative infinity?
Brackets.
Parentheses? Because remember on infinity, it's always
Oh.
parentheses.
Yeah.
And then open is parentheses and closed is the brackets. Okay, Ileana, I'm going to have you keep going. And then read your graph to the right. Does it go right forever or does it have a stop point?
It has a stop point.
And can you tell me what the x value is of that stop point?
3.
And is it parentheses or 3 if it is closed? Parentheses or brackets?
Bracket.
Bracket. Did anybody get that on their own? Good, good, good. Okay, let's try the range. The range, remember, is the y-axis. So we're coming from the bottom up. Does it have a start point at the bottom or does it go down forever? I'm going to call on one of you, so make sure you are ready. I'm going to call on Landon. Landon, does the graph go down
forever?
Down forever. Thank you. So I'm going to put negative infinity. And what do I put? Parentheses or brackets?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. And then does it go up forever or does it have an end point?
It has an endpoint.
And what's the y? I'm looking at the y value. What's the highest y value?
5.
5. Parentheses or bracket?
Parentheses.
Now, there's no open circle. So if there's no open circle, that means it's closed. So what would I put? Bracket. Did anybody get that or close? Good. Okay, next one. Alessandro, does my graph go left forever or does it have a start point?
It has a start point.
And can you tell me what that start point is on the x-axis? Because I'm looking at domain.
-1.
-1. And Alessandro, parentheses or bracket if that's a closed circle?
Parentheses. Oh no, it's brackets.
Brackets.
Yeah.
Okay. And now look to the right. Does it go on forever or does it have an end point when you're looking to the right?
It goes on.
So what would I put at the end?
Parentheses.
Parentheses with an infinity?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So now let's take a look at the range. Now we're looking at the x-axis. Caleb, on the y-axis, sorry, I don't know if I said that incorrectly. I may have misspoken. On the y-axis, can you help me with the range? Does the graph go down forever or does it have a start point?
It goes down forever.
So that starts at negative infinity. And Caleb, parentheses or brackets?
Parentheses.
Now, does the graph go up forever?
No, it has a stop point.
It has a stop point. And what is that stop point on the y-axis? Because I'm dealing with the range.
3.
3. And parentheses or bracket on that 3.
Bracket.
Bracket, good job. Okay, how are you guys doing? Those of you that are doing this, everybody should be doing this. Are you getting the same answers that we're getting when I have people help me?
Miss Torres? Oh,
Yes.
I have a question. So why wouldn't, on the domain of number 2, why wouldn't the infinity be a negative?
Very good question. You know what? I meant to emphasize that a little bit more earlier. Okay, so Amanda, there is a mistake you're making, and I want to bring it to everybody's attention because even kids in advance make that mistake. So I'm going to ask you guys, what mistake is being made? Because she is not the first kid to ask this question. I often have kids say, Mrs. Torres, if I'm going downward on my domain, I'm on the domain. If I'm going downward, why do I have positive infinity instead of negative infinity? I'm going to repeat the question. Positive infinity is correct, but the question I often get is why, if it's going down, why do I put positive infinity instead of negative? Can anybody tell me, Taryn, what the mistake is?
Isn't it because we're looking at the x value instead of the y? And since the x is positive?
Good. If you're looking at it going down, you're looking at the y-axis, up and down. But we have to be looking at the x-axis, which is going to the right, which is positive direction. Does that make sense? Who was it that asked that question? Okay, thank you, Amanda. Does it make more sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy that you asked and you were brave enough to speak up because I meant to emphasize that more a little bit earlier and I did not, but please guys speak up. Okay, next one. X values. Gavin, does it go left forever or does it have a start point?
Start point.
And what is the X value of that start point? Because I'm on the domain.
-1.
-1. And then does it go right forever or does it have a stop point?
Right forever.
So it's positive infinity, not because it's going up, but because it's going to the right. What do I put on the -1? Parentheses or bracket if it's an open circle?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. Okay. Range. Heidi, is my graph going, range, remember you start at the bottom and you move your way up. Down here at the bottom of my graph, does the graph go down forever or does it have a starting point when I'm coming from the bottom?
It has a starting point at -2.
At -2. And we're looking at the y value, so it is indeed -2. Do you guys see that? Okay. Heidi, now does it stop or does it go up forever? It stops here, but the arrow's there. So technically, does it stop forever or does it go on forever?
Yeah, it goes on forever.
It goes on forever. Now, is there an open circle in the way?
Yeah.
There's an open circle. Caleb's saying no because you look right and left. Is there a graph on the right or the left for that open circle? There's a graph, so that open circle doesn't matter when it's coming to the range and you write your range like this. All right, why does the open circle not matter for the range? Because when you're looking up, 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 you hit that open circle, always look right and left. If there's a graph on the right or the left of that open circle, don't care about it. Can anybody tell me why the -2 has a bracket?
Because there's no point, like there's no circle.
There's no open circle, which means it's closed. Okay, next one. I'm going to call on, I don't know who I've not called on yet. Alejandro, have I called on you yet? I don't think I have. Maybe I have. But Alejandro, I'm going to call on you again. This graph here, does it go left forever or does it have a start point?
Has a start point.
And what's the x value? Because I'm dealing with the x-axis.
2.
2. And parentheses or brackets?
Parentheses.
And does it go right forever or does it have an end point?
Right forever.
And so I put infinity and there's no open circle in between and parentheses or bracket.
Parentheses.
Good job. Okay, and now we're dealing with the range. Brindley, on the range, does my graph go up and down forever, yes or no? It goes up forever, but does it go down forever? No.
It goes
Okay.
up forever, but doesn't go down forever.
Good. So from the bottom, Brindley, where does the graph start? At what y value? What y value does the graph start?
It starts at 1.
And would I put parentheses or brackets?
Parentheses, because it's an open circle.
Perfect. And then you said it goes up forever and there's no open circles in the way, so I put infinity with parentheses. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to have you guys try number 5 on your own.
Can you move it so I can see number 5? Because I think I have the wrong bracket.
Can you move the paper over just a little bit so I can see number 5 on your screen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Karsten, can you tell us what you got for the domain?
I got 1 in brackets and infinity in parentheses.
Do you guys agree with him? Good, that is correct. Okay, so let's now check the range. I'm going to call on to Ashley. Can you tell me what you got for the range?
I'm still doing mine. Hold on, sorry.
I can't hear you.
I'm still doing mine.
Okay, I'll give you guys a little more time. While she's finishing it up, anyone willing to share what they got?
-2 in brackets and infinity with parentheses.
Do you guys agree? Anybody else get that one on their own? Good. Okay, I'm going to jump down to number 10. Really quick, do you agree the domain is -infinity to infinity because it's going left and right forever? Yes or no? Does the graph go up and down forever? Or is it constant, always and forever at 4? Because it's constant, it's not even slanted a little bit, it's constant, you write it like this. Okay, that one's tricky. I didn't go over one of those before. Okay, so typically we would have finished this in class and we would have turned it in today, but I took a lot of time going over notes because it was necessary. So today this needs to be done. Don't leave yet. You need to finish this today and PDF it and turn this in by the day's end. Is this clear? Okay, and then by tomorrow night, the video notes should be done and they're already on Google Classroom. So this and the video notes. Any questions?
What time tonight does this have to be?
It's by midnight. It's just by the day's end. So by midnight for this and by midnight tomorrow for the video notes. Okay.
Ms. Flores,
Yes.
for number 12, is it like the same thing as 10?
For number